A new national poll finds 7 out of 10 adults say Biden should withdraw from the race to make room for a new nominee, including 65% of Democrats. That is compared to 27% of Republicans who say Trump should leave the Republican ticket. Our Andrea Nakano is here. She's been tracking the very latest developments. It really has just been kind of a whirlwind lately.
A lot of moving parts in this race. There is a growing number of Democrats calling for President Biden to step aside. This as he vows to stay in the race to face Mr. Trump in November. There is a new call for President Biden to stop his re-election efforts from California Congressman Adam Schiff. He becomes the most prominent elected Democrat to publicly call on the president to drop out of the race. The Democrat released a statement saying that he has, quote, serious concerns about whether the president can defeat Donald Trump in November. And tonight, CNN is reporting that former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi privately told President Joe Biden that polling shows he cannot defeat Trump. The report went on to say Pelosi warned Biden that he could destroy the Democrats' chances of winning the House in November if he continues to seek a second term. Earlier today, we asked Sonoma State political science professor David McEwen about President Biden's continued loss of support from within his own party and what it means as we get closer to November.
This is a big signal. There's now 22 Democrats in the House that are calling for Joe Biden to come off the ticket. We've seen some polling information indicating that the COVID diagnosis will not help that.
Within the last hour, the Washington Post is reporting the DNC still plans to nominate President Biden in its virtual roll call, which is scheduled for early August. Now, Adam Schiff even said that if President Biden decides to stay in the race, that he will do whatever he can to support him, that they have a common goal, and that's to defeat Trump in November.
Yeah, I think everyone is waiting and watching to see if more and more people will continue to do this, and the people who are doing it privately, if they'll do it publicly.
And there have been rumors that President Biden is becoming a little bit more receptive to hearing these calls for him to resign. So we will see what happens here.
We certainly will. Andrea, thank you so much.